All right, we are back.
Where were we?
Well, we only did one episode last week.
Yeah, well, it was a special episode. It was a very special episode.
It was a very special episode. Special.
It wasn't like
special edition, not special education.
It wasn't like a very special blossom.
Or, different strokes. Which is how Gary Coleman died. Different. Get it? Too soon?
No, not really.
Okay.
Speaking of celebrity deaths, one this week hit extra hard, and
this family.
And I'm not going into details as to why, but I think some of the aftermath has been interesting. And of course, referring to the passing of Robin Williams.
The great Robin Williams.
Yes. Very talented man, but who clearly had some significant issues with both addiction and depression. And it wasn't addiction, it was a depression in the end that got him. And late in the week, the news came out that he also had early onset Parkinson's. So maybe
that
all those factors put together, you know, my point that I'll make right now, I'm going to try and center the camera a little bit more, is depression affects more than just the individual. It affects families. It affects
friends.
More than families, friends, so much more. If you have an issue with depression, or if you know somebody who does,
or think you know somebody, talk to them about it.
Talk to them about it. Encourage them to get help. We just went through something like that. We tried to encourage somebody to get help. They eventually got help. They ignored, our encouragement, but they eventually got help. But don't let up. Now, the aftermath of Robin Williams is where I sort of got a little frustrated, because there was so much focus on little bits of his work. Like, a lot of focus on his role in Good Will Hunting. Don't get me wrong, phenomenal role. But it was a small role. Yes, he won the Oscar for it. But it wasn't even close to being one of my favorite Robin Williams roles.
Mrs. Doubtfire, my favorite. Oh no, Genie and Aladdin was my favorite.
Genie Aladdin was a good one, but one you probably haven't even seen was a early 90s film called The Fisher King.
I did not.
Where he played a homeless man with some mental illness issues. And it was very thought-provoking. And it was just a very good role. Of course, one that you would imagine that I liked was, of course, his portrayal of Adrian Cronauer in Good Morning Vietnam. Admittedly, it wasn't like the real Adrian Cronauer, who himself said that, because, well, had he been involved with a VC operative, he would have been court-martialed. Considering he went on to become an attorney who worked at the Pentagon, it's safe to say that part didn't happen. That was fictionalized. But, it was a good role and a good movie, and
Just a good man.
Everything I've read about him showed what a generous man he was. I can't remember the actress's name, but the one who played the older daughter in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, apparently he changed her life, and I never read the article.
She had an issue where her school didn't have the means to accept students who had special circumstances, i.e. working professional actors, and they kicked her out. Robin Williams wrote a letter on her behalf. You know what the school did?
Let her back in?
No, they framed the letter and hung it up. They didn't let her back in.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Fuck
so,
that school.
again, let's watch the language there.
It's only once.
It's only once, but you tend to use it a little too much. That's my point. It loses the impact.
I blame society.
You can blame society all you want. I'm just saying it loses impact. But anyhow, there was a lot of things said about Robin Williams off and on this week. His daughter Zelda quit social media due to some of the things that came up, which is incredibly sad.
Just incredibly horrible people saying horrible things.
There are very horrible people out there.
Which,
and then there are horrible people who overreact to something that somebody said and say they said something else, which they didn't say, but they thought they said because they heard it from somebody else who reported that they said what they didn't say. Yes.
that was so messed up, I couldn't follow it.
And that's my point.
I'm
So
not
if
trying-
I said that Alex said, let's just say, the Florida Gators are awesome.
First of all, I would have said awful.
Okay, but if I reported that Alex Kirsting said the Florida Gators are awesome, and somebody else picked up on that. Actually, no, let me rephrase that a little bit. If I said Alex Kirsting sarcastically said that the Florida Gators are awesome, and somebody else reported that Alex Kirsting said the Florida Gators are awesome, and you didn't know Alex Kirsting, you might be ignorant enough to believe that he actually felt that way, even though the initial report was sarcastic. If you don't hear something yourself, don't believe it. If you don't see something for yourself, don't believe it. Question it. That's all.
Anyway, end of that rant. So there's a lot of things coming up this week.
Oh?
I'm starting my movie this coming Wednesday. Which
Really?
Yes, we promised we'd talk about it. Didn't really get a chance last week because
Okay.
we ended up doing.
Should we talk about it now or in the next episode? We only have like 2.5 minutes left.
It's not that long. We can still do
Okay,
it.
talk about it. By the way, we're no longer moving.
Yeah, as you
See,
can tell.
I'll prove all. Oh, I turned it off. I was trying to reverse it. Okay, now it's back on.
Way to go.
Now I
There you
reversed
are.
it. Yeah, there we are. No, we're in the little box. Let us out. Let us out.
Help us.
All right.
And we're back with our regular deep voices.
We'll no longer represent. Okay, continue your story. Start your movie.
I'm playing not a major role, but significant role for me because it's my first actual professional gig. The male host of the comedy club that the main character goes at. It's about a stand-up comedian who's just starting, who basically follows his life. He's in a relationship with his girlfriend for many years. He's trying to build his career as a successful comedian in Las Vegas. And just, it's not really a romantic comedy. It's the director, Micah Cyrus, who seems like a really, really cool guy. And I'm not saying that just because he hired me, but that's just not how he really wanted it to be. But it seems to come off that way with how the actors are doing it. So hopefully it turns out great. Hopefully you guys will be able to see it eventually, but who knows?
So, is this movie? Has it already started filming?
No, it starts filming literally on Wednesday, and that's my scene.
Oh, your scene was like one of the first things you shoot.
I'm literally the first thing you hear.
Are you going to shave before you go?
Yeah, I'm gonna shave.
Okay. I'm just noticing your Chester A. Arthur neck beard's coming back.